My 28F fiance, 31M, wants his mom in the delivery room and I'm being called selfish? I'm 6 months pregnant and we just had a huge fight about the delivery. My fiance thinks his mom should be in the room when I give birth because it's her first grandchild and she's been so supportive. I said absolutely not, I want just him there, maybe my own mom if I decide later. Now his whole family is saying I'm being selfish and excluding them from this special moment. His mom even cried saying I'm keeping her from bonding with the baby. My fiancé says I'm overreacting and that she just wants to help and support us. But here's the thing, I'm the one who's going to be half naked, in pain, possibly pooping on the table, and extremely vulnerable. This isn't a spectator sport. I don't want anyone, I'm not 100% comfortable with seeing me like that. His mom is nice, but we're not that close, and she's already been kind of overbearing about the pregnancy, sending me articles about what I should eat, asking invasive questions, planning the nursery without asking me. My fiancé says if I really loved him, I'd compromise on this. But I feel like my comfort during literal childbirth shouldn't be up for negotiation. Am I being unreasonable? Everyone's making me feel like the bad guy here, but it's my medical procedure. How do I make him understand this isn't about excluding his mom? It's about me feeling safe and comfortable during one of the most intense experiences of my life. Tell him to strip naked, squat down, and take a shit in front of your mother. He doesn't want to do that? If he really loved you, he would do it. And tell him that if he doesn't cut this nonsense out, he won't be in the delivery room either. My fiancé says if I really loved him, I'd compromise on this. Well, if he really loved you, he wouldn't be asking you to compromise on this. Tell him to fuck off. You're essentially asking, how do I convince my husband to be the father of my child? My feelings are important. Think twice before marrying him. Pregnancy and childbirth are the two most vulnerable times you'll ever experience. Saying you're overreacting, minimizing your feelings so he doesn't have to deal with his overbearing mother are huge problems that don't just disappear. Tell him his mom can watch when he gives birth. Jokes aside, I think you should get some couples counseling because regardless of whether this is a first offense or not, it's only going to get worse when the baby is out of you. He needs to learn that you and your feelings are more important than his mom's. At this point, I'd be kicking out the fiancé too. He and his family are being ridiculous. I think he already understands that and does not care. If you really loved me, you would underscore often translates to if you really love me, you'll do this unpleasant thing or let me hurt you. Or, seeing how far you're willing to go if you'll abandon yourself, bend yourself out of shape makes me feel loved. I, 40 female, separated from my husband, 46 male. Then he died. Okay, I'm just going to jump right in here. I was married to my husband in 2010. We separated in 2013 without any animosity. We just married too young and grew apart. No abuse, so infidelity. We just realized we were better off friends. And that's exactly what we did. We both moved on and became best friends. Talked almost daily, whether it just be sharing memes, TT videos, snaps, or just funny day-to-day stories. 6 years ago, I moved away, but we still stayed in contact, and every time he was in town, we caught up and were just cool with how it went. Neither of us filed for divorce in those 12 years we were separated. Mostly because we were lazy, but also partly because we never felt we needed to. We were never going to get back together, but it felt too mean. I can't explain it, haha. Last year, he died suddenly. I was devastated because I had lost a good friend and confidant. He was a really good person, like genuinely a kind soul, and the world is a little paler since he left. He was funny, smart, giving, and sweet. A really, really good person. While doing some cleaning, I realized I still had my engagement ring, wedding band, and his wedding band tucked away in an old jewelry box. It made me sad to see them. Not because I was sad about our relationship not working out. We were both totally okay with it ending, and like I said, we had both moved on. I was sad because it was a reminder of him, and a friend dying is always a hard thing. I have the rings because I paid for them all, and he said I should keep them because of that. I don't want to keep the reminder of my failed marriage, especially since I am in a serious, committed relationship shop with someone else. This seems kind of macabre and inappropriate to keep. Any advice on what I can do with them? TYJ. I don't think it's inappropriate to keep them. I don't think it's inappropriate since it was part of your life, and he's since passed away. But you could sell them or melt them or repurpose them into earrings. Did the lad leave a will? If not, you have bigger issues to deal with. Melt them down. turn them into a pendant and chain or other everyday jewelry. Bigger issue, what's going on with his estate? Who's handling it? Depending on the state he lived in, you are likely the person legally responsible for getting it settled, the person legally entitled to whatever property he left, and possibly the person legally obligated to pay some of his debts. You're going to want to at least consult a lawyer in his state. Do not assume that you're responsible for any of his debts. In many or most states you wouldn't be. But in some you might be because you were still married when they were incurred. Some other states like Illinois have a law that specifically makes surviving spouses responsible for certain types of debt they otherwise wouldn't be. It's strange to say all those things yet still view it as a failed marriage. My 35F, husband 36M, wants to videotape me giving birth. How do I get him to back off? I met my husband May years ago. Admittedly, I came close to divorcing him about a couple of years ago, but he has improved greatly since I gave the ultimatum to shape up, and he's usually been wonderful. Currently, I'm pregnant with our first daughter, and am due to give birth in 2 months. 3 days ago, he told me that he wanted my daughter's birth filmed and saved for educational reasons for our children. I was horrified, but he said that his dad taped his mom giving birth to him, and he got a ton of educational value out of it. He's even inciting I give the birth here in our house, since our hospital doesn't allow filming. How do I get him to realize it's a ridiculous idea? This is my body, and my difficult day I have to deal with. It's private and personal. I don't feel comfortable with you doing this, and it's not happening. The idea of choosing where to give birth over this makes it sound like he's completely lost his mind. Some people want home births, but there are lots of pros and cons. It's not something you just decide on a whim over something stupid like this. No, I'm not allowing you to film the birth. I'm not having a home birth. That's non-negotiable. If you try to prevent me from going to the hospital and/or film the birth, you will not be present at all. It's my pregnancy, my body, and my medical procedure, and what I say goes. You do not get a vote on this. Personally, I think when you go into labor, you should call a friend or relative before you tell your husband, so they can make sure he doesn't try and prevent you going to the hospital. I'm sorry, babe, but it's my body and I don't want it filmed at such an intimate time. If future children want to watch birthing videos, there are about 1 million of them online for educational purposes. Woman shrugging. What the serious fuck? Who's giving birth? You or your husband? If you want to do it in a hospital, then do it in the hospital. You don't need some long drawn-out speech. You just tell him how it's going to be, and that's the end of it. This is the same husband who hit you when you called him out for cruelty to your child? Am I, 24M, a jerk for politely declining a dinner with my 23F girlfriend's parents? What's next? After a 7-hour road trip that I've driven in deep snow and limited visibility, I was absolutely exhausted. I've been driving all day, and my girlfriend was there the entire time. I looked absolutely terrible, but I was still in good spirits as I knew that I was going to see her parents when I dropped her off. When that moment came, I unloaded her bags, and her father came up to me. He told me they had prepared dinner and that I should come in, without any notice in advance, really. I genuinely wanted to come in, but I was so exhausted, I looked terrible, and I just couldn't. I thanked him, but said I'm really tired, and I should probably go home and get some rest. I came into the house and unloaded the bags. Wished the whole family a happy new year, hugged them all, and told them have a good night. 15 minutes later, my girlfriend texts me and is practically telling me that I heavily disrespected her family, and that no boyfriend of hers, ex's, ever declined this. She said they set the whole table up for me, and that she's absolutely embarrassed that I said no. I was really remorseful, and begged her for me to turn around and come back, as I just didn't want them thinking that I'm a bad person. After back and forth, she declined me coming back, and I went home. A bit later, she indicated a breakup, and I fought the entire night just trying to keep her, and telling her various ways in which I'll make up for it, created a whole plan, and quite literally apologized into oblivion, to the point that it was really defeating for me. Today, she barely wanted to speak to me, and is showing heavy attitude, despite everything I've done yesterday to try and fix things. That being said, what can I do with such a scenario? Any advice on what I can do next? We had such a good road trip, I love the girl, and it absolutely hurts me that it had to come to this. Thanks. Unless you were told and agreed to dinner beforehand, it's not your fault, they just made an assumption you'd stay. On top of that, you need to get some self-respect. The minute she started comparing me to her exes because I was freaking tired and wanted to rest. I'm out. I would have stayed for the dinner, but it's certainly not something that should constitute a breakup. You shouldn't have to fight to stay together. If you feel like you need to convince someone to stay with you, then it was probably iffy to begin with. Not saying you should break up with her, but you need to tell her your side, and that had you known how important it was to her and her family, you would have stayed. If that's not enough, then that's on her. You weren't a jerk. You were exhausted and still polite. A surprise dinner after a 7-hour snowy drive is a lot to expect. Listen, if she's so inflexible that she's willing to break up over this, you dodged a bullet. While the invitation was nice, it's perfectly reasonable to decline after a long drive and being exhausted. Unless they invited you in advance, I think totally reasonable to decline if you were exhausted after such a long drive. Your girlfriend is acting immature and unreasonable, and you need to get some self-respect. Don't beg her. She's in the wrong and is treating you so poorly. If she is willing to threaten to end things and compare you to her exes so easily, then she isn't the one for you, my friend. She isn't treating you how you treat someone you love, and she also isn't treating you with any respect.